Yeah, the combine is completed. Let me run through a couple of notes for you about what is being said, what is being written with the combine. Now, marquee names did not work out. The quarterbacks did not work out. The top running back did not work out. The wide receivers did not work out. They're all going to do that at their pro day. However, there are people with opinions and comments about what happened. Shedeur Sanders did not get positive comments after his meetings with teams in Indianapolis. Each team's allowed to have a private session, introduce themselves, do chalkboard stuff with the players. The sources telling NFL people that Shedeur Sanders was unprofessional in his meetings. He acted disinterested, and he acted as if he were entitled. Obviously, that comes from the coach. That comes from his father, the coach, Deion Sanders. So Shedeur Sanders, evidently, leaving Indianapolis, and he didn't work out, kind of left a bad impression on a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, my bet is that he was selectively doing that to teams he didn't want to play for.
Not a red flag.
Well, he's putting out a red flag because he doesn't want to go play for, the Jets or the Giants. He wants to go somewhere where, his father is paving the way for him.
Conversely, the other quarterback, Cam Ward, he lit it up. He didn't work out, but he lit it up in the face-to-face meetings. He lit it up on the whiteboards with the coaches, etc. He lit it up with his vibrancy and his personality.
Nice.
So a lot of positive reviews with Cam Ward. Really interesting about Travis Hunter. Now, he could be the number one pick to Tennessee. But the word that I was told, the word used to describe Travis Hunter was pushy. I want this. You need to consider using me this way. He wants to be a two-position player. NFL teams say there's not enough hours in a day for you to be a two-position player like you were at Colorado. This isn't a Big 12 conference. But he kind of pushed that agenda with all the meetings. I don't think he's pushed himself out of the number one pick in the draft. He's just going to have to do what the club wants him to do, whether it's to be their top cover corner or to maybe be a wide receiver. I was told Tennessee views him as a cornerback first, but they would let him play a little bit of wide receiver. I was told the Browns want him as a wide receiver. Interesting storyline there. Quarterbacks moving up the board. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss, threw well. Really impressive. Quarterback nobody's been talking about, may have pushed himself into the second round, and he's big, he's stationary, he's got a cannon for an arm. Tyler Slaught from the University of Louisville. Played on a bad team, but he did a really good job. And the worst workouts, we talked about the Alabama quarterback, Jalen Milroe. Erratic, just all over the place. Did not have good meetings in terms of answering questions about formations and whiteboard. He didn't do well. And Ohio State's quarterback, Will Howard, I don't know if you saw the video. I've never seen a workout as bad as that, where they're throwing an air to receivers running routes. He wouldn't hit anybody. He was throwing in front of them, throwing way over them, throwing behind them. It was he cost himself in the I don't know where he's going to go on the draft board. But, a lot of people thought, based on his success at Ohio State, prior at Kansas State, that Will Howard was going to be in a second round, third round. I know people now talking about fifth round. I mean, his workout was really poor. How could you be panic-stricken when you've played in all the biggest games in the world in college football for Ohio State and come out and put on such a ragtag passing performance? His mechanics are all screwed up, and he just didn't hit anybody. And these are simple routes. It's not with pass rush with guys in your face. These are simple three-step drop, boom, put it there. Where are you throwing it? Threw it into the bench. Threw it over the guy's head. It was not good at all. So that's news and notes. Ashton Genty, by the way, very impressive interviews. He did not work out, did not do any of the physicality stuff, but it's on the tape. And, of course, everybody will be pouring into Boise State's pro day. I project he's going to be a top 10 pick. Who'll be the first running back off the board. So that's the latest from the combines.
Yeah, when you hear the story about Will Howard, it confirms why Shedeur Sanders and all these other guys don't work out. In case everything kind of went wrong. They had an unlucky day. When they sit and I have this vision in my head that when they're having their sit down conversation, you say the whiteboard, I think of those John Gruden quarterback camps, where they talk about the game. And I'd imagine that would be a really great conversation to be a fly on the wall.
Oh, yeah. And everybody's in there,
Mhm.
but these are kids that have all they've done for 3 years at Ohio State or wherever they played. That's what they do in team meetings and coaches, etc. So it should not be a shocker. You should not be intimidated. But you do have, obviously, the general manager, you have the head coach, you have the quarterback coach, you have the offensive coordinator, you have your passing game coordinator, and they're sitting in there with you and they're throwing questions at you. And then they're putting formations up on a whiteboard and say, okay, this is what you read when you come to line of scrimmage, your pre-read. What are you going to do?
Hmm.
Maybe it's too much cerebral for them and they can't handle it. Some guys do well on whiteboards and other guys don't.
What about Quinn Ewers? Have you heard anything about him?
I heard he was elevating himself into the second round, but I've not heard very much since that point in time. He was a little spotty, though, and even during the course of the playoffs, he had bad stretches in games for the Longhorns during the playoffs, but Texas had all those great skill guys that kind of helped them bail them out. He's going to get drafted. I don't know if he's a second-round pick. Maybe he's going to be a second-day choice, but he'll get a look-see.
All right. Right. It's coming up soon, like next month, right?
Yeah. Draft is in April. Okay, that's all things college football. Calls, comments invited. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open.